A team that had one of the most beloved players in football history somehow became one of the most disliked national teams on the planet. Lionel Messi, arguably the greatest player of his generation, led Argentina to a legendary World Cup title in 2022. And yet, in the years around that win, Argentina found itself at the center of controversy after controversy, facing genuine backlash from rival nations, football federations, and fans across multiple continents. Today, we're breaking down exactly why Argentina became such a polarizing team on the world stage, and why so much of the football world found themselves rooting against a country many had once adored. Quick basics first. In football, most neutral fans, meaning people who don't support either team playing, tend to pick a side based on likability, playing style, or a good underdog story. Usually, a team with a player as popular as Messi would have almost universal neutral support. Instead, Argentina's reputation became something far more complicated, built on decades of controversy that stretched back long before 2022. Let's start with the history, because Argentina's complicated reputation didn't begin at one single World Cup. Back in 1986, Diego Maradona, arguably the greatest Argentine player of all time, scored a goal against England using his hand, an obvious violation of the rules that the referee somehow missed. Maradona later called it, quote, the hand of God. England fans have never fully let it go. That match happened just 4 years after the two countries fought an actual war over the Falkland Islands, a small British territory that Argentina also claims. Sport and politics collided directly, and it created a rivalry that still shows up in stadiums decades later. Here's why that history matters so much today. During the 2022 World Cup, Argentina players celebrated their semifinal win over England. Adjacent tensions weren't even the England match. They celebrated a later win by holding up a banner reading, "The Malvinas are Argentine," directly referencing that same territorial dispute. FIFA opened an investigation into the incident. To Argentine fans, this was patriotic pride. To British fans and neutral observers, it looked like deliberately reopening old wounds for a football celebration. Now let's talk about a completely different rivalry, one that developed specifically around a single goalkeeper. Emiliano Martinez, Argentina's goalkeeper, became a tournament hero in 2022 for his penalty-saving heroics. He also became one of the most controversial figures of the entire World Cup because of how he celebrated. After beating the Netherlands in the quarterfinal, on a night already filled with tension between both teams, Martinez was filmed taunting Dutch players during the post-match handshake line. At the official awards ceremony, after winning the award for the tournament's best goalkeeper, he held the trophy in front of his hips in a crude, sexually suggestive gesture, live on camera, in front of a global audience. FIFA's own president publicly stated the gesture was unacceptable. Here's an observation worth sitting with. Provocative celebrations happen in football constantly. Most get forgotten within a news cycle. Martinez's actions kept happening, tournament after tournament, which started shifting public perception from passionate competitor to something that felt more deliberately disrespectful. Let's move to the aftermath of that 2022 title, because this is where things escalated in a way that went far beyond typical football rivalry. During Argentina's victory celebrations, and again after later tournament wins, videos surfaced of Argentine players singing a chant referencing French players that both the French Football Federation and human rights observers publicly condemned as racist and homophobic. Chelsea midfielder Enzo Fernandez, caught on camera participating, issued a public apology. Chelsea opened its own internal disciplinary review. FIFA opened a formal investigation. This wasn't a one-time slip either. It kept resurfacing across multiple celebrations over the following 2 years, with the French Federation eventually pursuing formal legal action. Here's why this specific issue affected Argentina's global reputation so heavily. Football has spent years actively campaigning against racism at every level of the sport, with FIFA and various federations investing heavily in anti-discrimination messaging around major tournaments. When video evidence shows players from one of the sport's most visible teams singing something explicitly condemned as racist, it doesn't just create a rivalry. It creates a genuine credibility problem, one that stretches beyond football fandom into broader conversations about accountability in professional sports. Add in additional incidents. FIFA has fined the Argentine Federation multiple times over the past decade for discriminatory chanting from fans, including a 2018 incident involving homophobic chants and physical confrontations with Croatian supporters. Reports have also surfaced from fans representing Cape Verde and Egypt alleging racist abuse from some Argentine supporters during tournament matches. None of this means every single Argentine fan or player was involved, but repeated incidents, investigated by FIFA on separate occasions, started building a documented pattern rather than an isolated controversy. So here's the honest, complicated picture. Messi himself remained one of the most universally beloved athletes on the planet throughout this entire period, largely untouched by these specific controversies personally. Millions of neutral fans worldwide still wanted to see him finally win a World Cup and celebrated genuinely when he did. But the broader Argentine national team, separate from Messi individually, developed a reputation for provocative behavior, political banners, and repeated discrimination controversies that alienated fans in France, England, the Netherlands, and beyond. Saying the entire world wanted Argentina to fail oversimplifies a genuinely mixed reality. It's more accurate to say Argentina became one of football's most polarizing teams, adored by some, resented by others, for reasons that go far beyond who simply plays the best football. Quick recap before we wrap up. Argentina's complicated global reputation traces back decades. Through the Falklands conflict and Maradona's hand of God, through provocative celebrations from players like Emiliano Martinez, through a political banner controversy at the 2022 World Cup, and through repeated chanting controversies that multiple federations and FIFA itself formally condemned and investigated. Messi's individual popularity never really faded. The national team around him became something far more divisive. Here's the final thought worth remembering. In football, the story of a team is rarely just about what happens during 90 minutes on the pitch. Sometimes what happens after the final whistle, the celebrations, the chants, the gestures, ends up shaping a team's global reputation just as powerfully as the trophies themselves. If breakdowns like this make football finally click for you, subscribe, because this channel turns the biggest stories in the sport into something anyone can actually understand.